Sunday afternoon is the big one. That's the one I'm excited about for the whole weekend. I know you're excited as a Dallas Cowboys fan. Cowboys are at home taking on the 49ers. Man, it feels like the 90s. We saw a ton of good Cowboys Niners games year after year in the 90s, usually twice a year. We get regular season again in the playoffs. We're back. The Cowboys are a field goal favorite. We talked about this game a bunch earlier in this week. Both of us were big on the 49ers. Are you still on the 49ers
Still
here?
love the 49ers. I think this is my favorite pick of the week. Look, I mean, this Cowboys offense, they've been struggling since Dak Prescott returned from injury in week 9. They just haven't been the same offense. Look, they're scoring 28 points per game, which is, I mean, solid, but they're just 16th in EPA play, 21st success rate, 19th in dropback success rate, and 27th in rushing success rate. They're going to have to deal with this 49ers defense, which is second in EPA per play and second in success rate. They have a dominant pass rush. And look, the Cowboys, we know they want to establish the run, but we've seen a decline in their rushing offense. The Seahawks, they went out there and scored. They put up 190 yards rushing on the Cardinals, and the Cowboys couldn't do anything. So, and then I look at the other side of the ball, 49ers are going to be able to run all over this Cowboys rushing defense. And look, they can get home without blitzing, which is a major key. And we notice 49ers secondary has been a little bit leaky, but they're not going to have Michael Gallup to have to do it. That's one less weapon. So 49ers secondary getting healthy. I really love the 49ers in this matchup. And I have a take, and a lot of people didn't like it when I said it on Twitter the other day, but I'll say it again. Jimmy Garoppolo has quietly been the better quarterback than Dak Prescott. He's bested him in EPA per play. He's bested him in completion over expectation composite. Success rate, he's better there. He's better in completion percentage. He's better in Football Outsiders DVOA. Nearly every single metric is telling you that Jimmy Garoppolo has been the better quarterback. And I know Jimmy Garoppolo's had some issues with some turnovers, but Dak Prescott hasn't been getting it done. And this 49ers offense is 6th in EPA per play and 9th in success rate. I like the 49ers +3, and I like them to win this game outright. I'm taking it on the money.
Yeah, that is a lot, but it's really hard to disagree with any of that. I think, just to be clear, I think you're not saying necessarily that Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. He just is playing better football right now, and certainly is playing in a system that elevates him a lot better than what the Cowboys are doing. Dak has not looked the same since coming back from that calf injury. You know, the Cowboys had 2 big national TV games down the stretch there against the Eagles and against Washington, put up a ton of points. Throw them out. Those games meant nothing. The Eagles are playing their backups. Washington is basically playing their backups with all their COVID guys in. You can't look at that and be like, oh, okay, Dallas offense is fine again. Dallas, the first 6 weeks or so, before Dak got hurt, before the run game started to fall off, totally different offense than they are right now. And I'm not sure they're going to score a ton of points in this one or throughout the playoffs. The run game hasn't been good. Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard both are playing injured right now. So where it looked like this great 1-2 attack, it's kind of neither one of them is really showing up right now. The other thing too, I love Dallas as a possible sleeper here, not in this game, but coming to the playoffs if things bounced right, because Micah Parsons, Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, that defensive line can take over games and dominate them. However, what's the best antidote to a strong pass rush? It's running right at them. And that's what the Niners are going to do. That's why I love how they match up in this one. Trent Williams looks like he's healthy. That's a huge, huge get for the Niners to get him back out there. You got George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk blocking. I love when they do the Deebo Samuel runs, because you end up like sweeping from the side and the running back on the field ends up blocking. So you get an extra blocker beyond the fullback and the tight end and the dominant line. And I think that run game, the power run game right at the pass rushers, and then the misdirection to throw off the pass rushers, I think that's a real matchup advantage in the Niners' favor. And it's a way to negate the best thing that the Cowboys do, which is rush the passer. Number 1, pass defense DVOA, and it's because of those guys up front. So I love the matchup here for the Niners. As the week has gone on, I have gotten a slightly more hesitant, and here's the reason. I think the Niners dominate time of possession. I think they dominate, run the ball, keep the ball moving. However, we know Jimmy Garoppolo is a flawed quarterback. We know at any given time he can go all Carson Wentz. And with the pass rush, all it takes is one or two times for that pass rush to get home. One or two, a strip, an interception. Trayvon Diggs has been a big playmaker all year. The Cowboys defense has been big at just making plays, pulling things out of nowhere. Cowboys offense, I don't trust them to go on these big long drives, but I do think I wouldn't be shocked to see the Cowboys pull out a win here on the basis of just like 4 or 5 big plays, one or two huge defensive plays, couple big passes down the field, in a game where they only had the ball 20 minutes. And we're like, how did they pull that off? The Niners dominated. And I could see those big plays going Dallas's way. So I still like 49ers here, but especially dropping to 3. I wanted the 3.5. We hope the line would go higher. Do you think the line's going to move up still, or is Dallas just going to sit there at 3?
I think 3 might be the right number. I mean, look, you have certain books right now that have 3 minus 120. So I can see them going up to a 3.5. There is one 3.5 in the market. But I mean, for the most part, I think this is staying at 3 because I think the sharper money is going to be all on the 49ers. And I think you're going to have the public money all on the Cowboys. But it's just, you mentioned Trayvon Diggs. And although he has the reputation of this elite quarterback because of the interceptions, he really hasn't been very good. He's just 90th out of 91 quarterbacks in Pro Football Focus with 300 plus coverage snaps and yards allowed per target. So it's just, look, the Cowboys are 26 in yards allowed to opposing wide receivers at nearly 9 yards of play. So you can expect a big day from Deebo Samuel. And they're also not very good at covering tight ends. So I think this is a game in which Jimmy Garoppolo can shine. I know we talk a lot about his interceptions, but when you look at how he's played in the clutch, let's go back to some of these games. Yep. He led the potential game-winning drive against the Green Bay Packers, in which they took the lead. They just left 30 seconds for Aaron Rodgers, and that's all he needs. When you look at last week to get into the playoffs, he led the game-winning drive. Even when you look at the game against the Titans, in a game in which you could say he probably didn't play well because they probably should have been up 21-0 in the first half, he actually led the game-tying score to tie the game in the fourth quarter. Titans just drove down and kicked a field goal because there's just not enough time left. And then you look at the Cincinnati Bengals. He led 2 game-winning drives. He led the game-winning drive at the end of regulation until they missed the field goal. Then the Bengals get the ball first. Defense holds them to 3. Jimmy Garoppolo takes him right down the field and scores a touchdown. So to me, Jimmy Garoppolo has been, I hate to say it, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league this season. Like, you lead four potential game-winning drives, I got to trust you, regardless of what the reputation says. We know they're going to be able to run the ball. So I'm all over this 49ers. But I do think you made a great point because turnovers swing games. And we know he is turnover prone. And
the numbers back you. The numbers show Jimmy Garoppolo, on the EPA and completion percentage over expectation, Garoppolo's been at or near the top of the charts pretty much all season. So it's not a vacuum. You're playing with those other 10 guys. You're playing in Kyle Shanahan's system. Right now in that system, Garoppolo's getting the job done. He just is. The numbers tell the story. Shanahan as an underdog has been really good. And Mike McCarthy versus Shanahan, big advantage to Shanahan in that one. So that's definitely a spot too. I lean under here. I don't trust the Cowboys to go on these long drives. I think the Niners chew up clock with their run, and that makes the game a little bit shorter. I do worry a little bit too about that Jimmy Garoppolo, the thumb. We saw the slow start last week. It seemed like he took a shot at halftime and kind of cleared up later. Maybe gets that early, but then does he slow down late? I could see a lot of ways where we just don't get a ton of scoring in this one. We get a sloppy football game. I kind of wouldn't be too surprised here too. I'm excited for this game. It's the one non-rematch of the weekend. I wouldn't be shocked to see one team, either side, just dominate the game and get like a 14-point win or something. So that'd be another way to go under if one team just kind of doesn't show up and doesn't get a ton of points. So I lean under. I like Niners. I want the 3.5. If I can get above the 3, I like the Niners a lot more. At 3 or less, I still like them, but I think a lot of the value is gone then.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think one of the things you mentioned was the under, and I think that's interesting just because you have two teams who are going to run the ball so heavily. And we know the 49ers are going to soak up a lot of clock. Like, even when you look at the second half of that 49ers-Rams game, it felt like the Rams barely had the ball. And I can easily see that happening to the Cowboys. And we all know the Cowboys want to establish the run. I do think if the 49ers go up 2 touchdowns, this game's going over though. Because we know we know that the Cowboys can get aggressive. Like, and I think that's I don't really have the fear of one team really going up a couple touchdowns, but I think when you have a team going up a couple touchdowns, that's when you see, all right, we got to air it out. And that's the last thing that I really want with this Cowboys team, because they're proven. I mean, they're not exactly Brandon Staley, but Mike McCarthy is going for it on 4th downs at this point. So I do agree with the under though, just because of the pace of the game and how these teams are going to call the game.